in both of these teams, very willing and capable of pushing in transition and scoring quickly.
Here's Clark working around Fletcher.
Ever wonder what it's like to have your pride dashed and your ankles cracked live on TV? Welcome to the Caitlin Clark Show. She doesn't only play basketball, she rules it, leaving opponents scrambling and embarrassed. Caitlin Clark transforms every court into her platform, from soul-snatching buzzer beaters to embarrassing crossovers. Prepare yourself, because this is basketball unlike anything else you have seen. This is Caitlin Clark embarrassing her opponents without trying. Ignore the three-point boundary. Caitlin Clark doesn't think in constraints. Clark gently pushed up from the logo in her famous game versus Michigan, swaggering as a performance at her best. Her defender, frozen, like they had just encountered a ghost wearing a jersey number 22.
And just like that, Michigan was sent packing with an L, while Clark walked off the court with a cool 40 points under her belt.
That shot counted for humiliation rather than only 3 points. Michigan's defense vanished, turned into a child's playing a Caitlin Clark masterclass, not even just failed. They became part of Caitlin Clark's highlight reels for all eternity. Now that's what you call embarrassing your opponent. But that's just the start.
Thought about pulling up from three, will dip inside and lay it in. Here are the first points in the WNBA career.
First impressions are everything, they say. Hence, Caitlin Clark must have found personal resonance in that. She made a slam in her first WNBA game so strong, it might have easily came with a "Welcome to My World" banner. Although Dewana Bonner had the unpleasant experience of contesting it, she turned out more like a prop than a defender.
Clark sinks the screen and got the layup and one.
Off the strong side, she's kicking it for a three.
Trash talk or rough play shakes some athletes. Caitlin Clark, she finds a good kick of adrenaline in it. Clark turned the script when Sophie Cunningham shoved her during a tense time against the Phoenix Mercury. Mind you, Clark did not even flinch. With Cunningham behind, Caitlin ended with an and one so smooth that even the refs seemed amazed when charging straight to the hoop.
Clark, she dropped Allen out though.
Years and years of perfecting that.
Caitlin dribbling near the top of the arc, and Allen guarding it with all she's got. Allen's feet suddenly are performing their own version of "the floor is lava." A rapid crossover, a subdued fake by Clark. Stepping back, Clark nonchalantly takes the shot and turns away before the ball even touches the net. It was the kind of event that shook the internet rather than only Allen. Even though the ball didn't get in the net, it definitely left Allen feeling embarrassed and shocked.
What's better than breaking records? Doing it right in front of someone who set a few themselves.
Breaking records is one thing, but breaking records with Sabrina Ionescu on the court with you, that's iconic. In a much-awaited game, Caitlin took control like a pro. She topped Sabrina on her native ground, dropping a triple-double that left commentators searching for adjectives, as Caitlin pulled up crazy threes, threaded no-look passes, and commanded her squad like a maestro. The liberty seemed practically lost.
Now, if you think Clark's savagery was reserved for the WNBA, think again.
There's trash talk, then there's Caitlin Clark trash talk. And Caitlin's trash talk is one with Burns. Raven Johnson was wide open, beyond the arc in a really important NCAA playoff game. Most defenders would close the distance.
Look at how far Caitlin Clark is playing off of Raven Johnson.
Daring her.
And when Johnson hesitated, Clark waved her off like she was...
But Caitlin, she waved her off like a child in pretend play. The boldness, the pure contempt. Of course, Johnson bricked the shot, and Caitlin hardly bothered turning around. That wave with a knife to South Carolina's ego, not only a defensive move.
We can't talk about Iowa Clark without talking about their matchups with LSU. Remember after the 2023 NCAA Final?
Do you remember Angel Reese's "You Can't See Me" taunting from the NCAA Finals? Well, whether you remember or not, Caitlin definitely did. Clark performed so mercilessly in the rematch that it felt personal.
It was more than just a game. It was a chance for redemption. And oh, did Caitlin come prepared. Dominating the court with...
On LSU, she sank 9 three-pointers, each one a louder message than the previous. The Tigers' roar became a whimper as Reese's defense collapsed beneath the bombardment. By the last buzzer, it was revenge delivered searing hot.
More size and length. Clark.
You bet. Catch, fire.
With 2 seasons of supremacy, an unblemished record, and an air of invincibility, South Carolina marched into the Final Four. But none of it bothered Caitlin Clark. She ripped their defense in an old-fashioned game, scoring and assisting almost every Iowa basket. Her crossovers, stepbacks, and exquisite passes made the Gamecocks spectators. South Carolina's undefeated run was history when the last buzzer rang, and Caitlin stood alone as the designer of their collapse.
Hines Allen will launch and miss on a 3-ball. Mystics have opened up 0-4 from the floor. Clark, good feed inside. It's Samuelson.
Presumably, the Washington Mystics felt they were prepared for Caitlin Clark. But, well, they weren't. Early in the game, Clark chose to pull up from the logo after leisurely dribbling up court and peered at the defense. The Mystics bench gasped together as the ball arced in the air like a piece of art splashing across the net. It was the kind of shot that made news and the kind teams worry about for the next season.
Right here, Sammy, looks like she's turned the corner, and then from that angle, if you were the...
Defending Caitlin Clark is like trying to catch flames with your hands. If you don't trust us, ask Samantha Wickham. In a one-on-one encounter that was more like a dance-off than a basketball game, Clark unleashed an amazing sequence of crossovers and fakes. Wickham faltered, staggered, and finally struck the deck as Clark completed with a smooth reverse layoff. Wickham was the sad defender who never had a chance.
The Aces, she showcased this brilliantly. As the Sparks defense took a momentary nap, Clark was wide awake.
Indiana dared to double-team Caitlin Clark as the game clock went down and the score remained knotted. Easily dodging opponents, Caitlin fired a high-arcing 3 at the buzzer. The ball sank through the net after striking the backboard. That was daylight robbery, not only a game winner.
So can Caitlin Clark meet the expectations of Candace Parker in her first WNBA season, where she won Rookie of the Year and MVP of the WNBA?
Though Candace Parker seems to be downplaying comparisons, Caitlin Clark's explosive court presence and aggressive shooting have attracted continual references to Parker's illustrious career. Parker is a pillar of the WNBA, but Clark's ascent in NCAA hoops has fans humming about her ability to revolutionize the game, exactly as Candace did.
Back in April, Diana Taurasi said reality is coming for Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. Since that statement, Caitlin has become a WNBA All-Star and an MVP candidate in her rookie season.
Renowned star Diana Taurasi had her pocket picked by Caitlin Clark in an incident straight out of a robbery movie. Striking the ball midway through dribbling, Clark rushed to the other end and completed with a finger roll so simple it felt like poetry. Taurasi's response was a clear show of how embarrassed she was feeling. This was more than simply a turnover. It was a passing of the baton to the next basketball queen.
There's so much opportunity in transition. Caitlin Clark needs no space. Catches in. Come on, 22. Are you not?
As Caitlin Clark fired a flurry of threes from every side of the floor, Miami's defenders had to have felt as though they were playing on molten lava. Her confidence was unwavering. Her accuracy was surgical. Miami's defense seemed so disorganized by the third quarter that they might have as well waved white flags.
She has that one foul, knows it's important not to pick up the second because she got 2 in the first quarter against Connecticut. Clark,
Who claims Caitlin Clark just gets low? She rejected a layup attempt with force in an epic struggle with Connecticut, retrieved the rebound, and ran coast to coast for a one-handed slam. Players from Connecticut could only observe, motionless like sculptures in a basketball museum. That performance was a full-stop event that left jaws on the floor, not just a highlight.
Done really well throughout the course of those last 10 games, is going to her right side, being physical and finishing even with contact. Clark.
The defensive game plan of Seattle, thwarted by the talent of Caitlin Clark. She ran Iowa's attack like a symphony using no-look passes, impossible assists, and three-point daggers. The defenders of Seattle scrambled, but every action they took directly went right into Kate's clutches. By the end of the game, Caitlin not only prevailed, but also converted Seattle into an unwilling player in her basketball masterwork.
Clark gets a screen from Boston. There's the pick and roll, and easy. Look. We talked to Caitlin earlier today.
Until Caitlin Clark grabbed the ball, Vegas led, had momentum, and had a crowd on their side. Dribbling to the corner, she stepped back 3 over an extended palm of the defender. Except for the sound of Caitlin's teammates celebrating, the arena went quiet. That was a knife directly through Vegas's heart. Not only a game-changing shot. Which one of the above was your most favorite moment of Caitlin Clark? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you slam that like button, subscribe for more great sports stories, and forward this video to every basketball fan or just Caitlin Clark fan you know. Like Caitlin Clark, her magic should take the front stage.